this is Atmaboda. Today is January 9th, 2022. The title of today's podcast is Darkness is Just a Canvas for Light to Paint On. This is episode 44. Beginning now. Without darkness, beauty would not exist. Without darkness, we would not be able to distinguish the sun. Darkness is just a canvas for light to paint on. The most concentrated source of light, from the highest perspective, is ultimate truth. Symbiosis with truth is the only independence. Otherwise, you will be affected by your environment. When we love the one truth, we can see our beloved in everyone, not only one person. We can love everyone as we can love our own spouse or whomever you hold dearest. Many religious people happily obey religious rules about premarital sex, not working on Sundays, and avoiding pork or only eating halal or eating vegetarian. But this one truth of seeing the best in everyone is more important than any of these rules. Restrictions don't create limitlessness. Many gurus also have attachments. Many gurus want followers to put them first. A true guru will want aspirants to put the truth first. At the beginning of anything new, there is naturally resistance. The largest religions of today all started small. But what these teachings advocated here is, as you know, not a religion. They are very old, but the deeper meaning has been lost to time. There are no accidents. Perhaps the true understanding of spiritual teachings were lost intentionally. That way, the grand reveal is more interesting and more of a surprise. But perhaps this is just the natural way of things. Regardless, everything unfolds perfectly by grand design. Clearly, when you have a higher level of mastery, you become the cause, and the effect ripples outward with great force. You become a singularity and a catalyst of love and inspiration. This is determined not by outer influence, but by what is more pure and innate within you. If you must theorize that free will doesn't exist, it can be suggested that we each have the ultimate choice to choose between outer or inner influences. There is no equality, because to have equality means you must measure yourself against another. We are all unique. And there concludes the written portion. As you noticed, there is some differing topics contained within, and we're going to go over that. But let's first repeat the title, which is Darkness is Just a Canvas for Light to Paint On. What does that mean? That means that we cannot appreciate the beauty of the sun without darkness. We cannot distinguish shapes. We cannot distinguish form. So by having the darkness, it creates a depth. It creates a beauty that would not be possible if everything was just light. So both are important and both are necessary to express our highest nature. This creates the diversity that we need to do that. But the important thing to recognize here is that darkness is relatively powerless. All the darkness in a room cannot stop a single candle from burning. So in today's age with the COVID restrictions and this pandemic, if you feel that things are getting overwhelming for you and you can't see the light of what's going to happen in the future, just realize that you have all of the power. You have more power than you realize. And especially when you turn to the highest truth and you ask for guidance and energy to help power you through this, there's an unlimited supply. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that because of the drama and various things that happen in your life. And to be strong and resilient and to never lose sight of the fact that you are a force for good. And part of being that force for good is to be stubborn in trying to see the best in everyone. Even your enemies, even the most toxic people, they all have a spark of goodness within them. And it may be difficult to get that out and to have them see that for themselves. But as long as people like you continue to try to look for the best in them and in everyone will come out the more you look for it. This is especially true for teachers and people in professional positions of therapy, whereby you are trying to encourage them to break old habits and to be the best person that they can be. If you are looking at them from the lens of past transgressions of what they did bad in the past, you're just going to be reinforcing those ideas also in them. For example, if you're a parent and your child does something a bit naughty, well, you can concentrate on the naughtiness and say, hey, you're a bad boy, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. Or you can look at it from another perspective and say, hey, I was a kid too. I know what it's like, but I know you're better than that. And by taking the latter approach, you are creating an ally, whereas the first approach, you're creating an adversary. And the same is true in all of your interactions. You can either encourage the good behavior by seeing the best, or you can encourage the bad behavior by shaming the bad. And it's always better to see the best than to shame the bad. Of course, that's without being naive. Of course, you want to protect yourself so you're not manipulated. People do have other motives, right? Just because you see the best in them, that doesn't mean that you can't be taken advantage of. So that's good to guard against that, of course. But the important thing to note here is that restrictions don't create limitlessness. And so if you want to be unlimited yourself, you want to lift restrictions upon yourself as opposed to creating restrictions. And for example, instead of focusing on what not to do, focus on what you can do. Instead of focusing on punishments and penalties, focus on rewards and what can happen if you do the right thing. I know a lot of people are guilty of beating themselves up if you make a mistake, or by saying, oh, I'm stupid, or I'm so dumb, or I can't believe you did that, you're such an idiot. And every time you chastise yourself, part of you is shutting down. And that's not what you want. You want to open up like a flower. So instead of taking the hard line of being the disciplinarian, whether it be for yourself or for others, it's better to be the person that is encouraging and inspiring and saying, oh, it's going to be okay. Yes, there's no such thing as mistakes, only learning experiences. Remember, everything in biology is actually insignificant compared to what happens spiritually. And what I mean by that is there's nothing that you can do on the biological realm that isn't more important than what you do on an internal realm. When it comes to your beliefs, when it comes to your outlook on life, when it comes to your attitude, these are the more important things. So if you beat yourself up about what you do biologically, and then you're creating for yourself an attitude, like a negative attitude, well, that's a limiting belief, and it's harming you more than whatever actions you took in the physical world. Because the thing to keep in mind always is there are no accidents. Maybe you missed a bus on purpose because if you didn't miss that bus, something may have happened bad to you if you had got on there. That should be the attitude. Like, okay, I'm happy I missed the bus because maybe that bus was going to have an accident. Or maybe because I missed that bus, I'm going to meet somebody special in my life that I would never have met otherwise. Because on the second bus is that special someone that I've been waiting to meet all my life. It's like that's the attitude to have. Like everything that goes wrong, that could be interpreted as going wrong, to kind of turn it on its head and say, well, you know what? There's no accidents. Everything happens by grand design. And what I think is an accident, from another perspective, maybe this is what's supposed to happen. That this sets in motion a sequence of events like the butterfly effect, that if it didn't happen exactly this way, maybe the outcome would have been so much worse. And that kind of reaction, that happy, positive, idealistic perspective, that can only help you, because in the end, by having a negative reaction to whatever happens in your environment, that's not helpful to you. It's not empowering. And in the end, it's just going to be forgotten anyway. The point is you're here alive in a physical body on this planet, and you might as well have a good time, right? You want every day to be fun and interesting and exciting. And you can make everything interesting and exciting. I'll never forget in Mary Poppins episode, the song, with a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. The same thing is true with everything in life. You can bring some spice into it that's going to make it all better. What before is a chore, you can make into a celebration. Like mowing the lawn. You can mow the lawn with headphones on, listening to music and dance as you are mowing the lawn. It can become an extension of the dance floor. Same thing with cleaning your room or doing tasks like taking out the garbage. Everything you do can be a celebration. Now I want to touch upon another topic called free will, because I was having a conversation or a written debate online on Reddit about this today, and this person was convinced that free will doesn't exist and that we are all victims of our environment, that how you turn out in life is entirely dependent upon what environment that you're in, the people that you're exposed to, the experiences you have in life, and that then determines causally your reality. And there's just so much wrong with that, because ultimately we are more than our environment. There's countless stories of people who grew up in the ghetto and were able to escape that environment, whether it be by putting their nose to the books and studying hard and getting good grades and getting accepted into a university, whereby it opens up new doors of possibilities that didn't exist before. Or maybe it was just stumbling across a YouTube channel online and being inspired by YouTube instead of listening to the criminal family that you might be in, or whatever other negative influences where people are telling you you can't do something, that you're not good enough, and that there's no hope for you. The fact is that there is always hope. There's always a way to overcome your environment. And there is something called God. And whether you call it highest truth, this power can help empower you and inspire you to get out of whatever situation you want and get into the situation that you do want to be in. For example, let's say you have a girlfriend and your girlfriend broke up with you. Well, you could have different reactions to that. One reaction could be to drink alcohol or do drugs and try to make the pain go away. The other reaction could be to study computer programming and improving yourself so you can make more money, so that later on you can be driving around in a nice car and your girlfriend is regretting that she ever broke up with you because you're so much more successful than the other guys that she's dating now. We always have a choice. We have a choice to follow the inner voice, or we have a choice to follow the outer influences. We have a choice to be lazy, or we have a choice to be disciplined. And we have that power to shape our lives. Never let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. Never let anyone label you and define you. You be the definition of your life. There's no one else that's more of an expert on you than you are. And there may have been very bad things that have happened to you in the past. You do have a choice in every situation. You can either keep reliving the bad things that happened to you, or you can turn a new chapter and decide to forget the past and to turn over a new leaf and be reborn again like a phoenix from the ashes. It's never too late to take that next step. For some reason in today's society, there's a lot of pressure to make everyone conform and everyone equal. We are not equal. We are unique. We are each individually very unique. Each of us has different strengths and different weaknesses, different personalities. Instead of focusing on equality, we should be focusing on individual uniqueness. Instead of saying how we are victims because of the group we happen to be born into, we should look at ourselves as individuals. Don't identify as a group. Identify as an individual, because you are special. You are not the same. The sky is the limit of what you can be. And it's possible to come to a place where you are empowered. You can shake off any negative energy on the outside, any toxic people. You can develop this inner resilience where everything bad that's surrounding you just bounces off. And instead of being affected by that, you can become an inspiration, not only for you, but for those around you. Yes, there is a lot of negativity in the world. There's a lot of hate in the world. There's a lot of people that don't have your best interests at heart. But you are the light, and you can paint in the darkness of the world something beautiful, because ultimately the power is within. And the more you believe that, the more you can create the lifestyle of your dreams. You can be the master of yourself. You can be the superstar. And if you think about it, what is it, a superstar, to be the starring figure in your own life? A star is a sun. A star is light. A star is shining. You are that star. And maybe this star is a little bit dim right now. Maybe it's a little bit dirty and you need to clean things up. But that core essence of who you are is intact. It is inside of you. You can just dig it out, excavate it, identify with that. Other than being that superstar that you are, the other aspects of you are not as important. You don't need to be limited. You don't need to be weak. You can be strong. You can have whatever you want. The world that we live in, it likes to beat people down. It likes to discourage people. It likes to convince people that they're not worthy and that they can't succeed. How many voices out there are actually encouraging? People are worn down. They're become weak. And you know what? In many ways, this is a good thing, because it means that there is so much opportunity now to shine. The darker things are on the outside, the more people can notice your shine. So be grateful even for the darkness, because without the darkness, maybe people can't see you for who you are, because you are able to shine so bright that that darkness makes you stand out even more, so that you can not only help yourself and help your family, but to help everyone that you encounter in your life. And you can feel free to also visit divinity.com and the YouTube channel and the Reddit, and there's links for those. This is Atma Bodha signing off, and I look forward to meeting you. And you can feel free and message me if you ever want to talk. Bye-bye.